Take a very close look and replace this child with your own. The atrocious and unspeakable act known as bacha-bazı, literally translating to boy play, is an ancient practice existing in Afghanistan that has been revived and is on the rise due to the war-torn state of the country. Bacha-bazı involves boys, typically those without fathers, aged as young as 9 or 10, being taught how to dance, then sold to men as a sign of power. Not only is it an ongoing market of child trafficking, but these children are forced to dance for their masters and are sexually abused and exploited on a regular basis. Furthermore, these children are passed around to different men at parties to take to hotels for sexual pleasures, and as an end result are paid nothing. The child is forced to endure oppressive beings and not object, because of fearing for his life. This extremity of harsh treatment scars the child. He will dance with the clothing of women, sometimes with fake breasts, bells hanging from his ankles. At times he will be gang raped so severely he will lose consciousness, then be beaten for falling asleep. To find these boys, sometimes men roam the streets looking for vulnerable, impoverished boys to be brought into the world of bacha-bazı and lure them in with the promise of a better life. The practice has been deemed illegal by both the Taliban and the government due to the fact that it is violating Sharia law, classifying it as a non-Muslim practice. Additionally, the practice is purely pedophilic, as it violates international humanitarian law. Overall, the tradition is regaining popularity in all of Afghanistan, as it was said to only exist in the south. What grasps kids into the practice is poverty. In extreme times, these children could be sold off by their own family due to desperation or financial crisis. However, typically, bacha-bazı boys are boys without fathers. This is because in Afghan society, men are seen as the source of income and the main support of the family, whereas women are not allowed to work. Therefore, in an impoverished family like many of those in Afghanistan, when a family loses a father, the boy of the family is seen as the support of the family, even though he can be as young as 9. What allows this heartbreaking practice to go on even though it is deemed illegal is the corruption in the government. Journalists who look to expose the practice of bacha-bazı to the world have repeatedly reported seeing government officials entering as well as taking part in bacha-bazı parties. This is because an agreement is made beforehand where the officials agree not to expose the hosts if he is invited. To make matters worse, Western people are known to visit Afghanistan to take advantage of the corruption and participate in the practice. Being a bacha-bazı boy has immense effects on a child's mental health. They become submissive to anything that brings them pain or discomfort. This takes away from their character and makes them obsolete. In addition, the submissiveness of a bacha-bazı boy makes them so weak-minded they have no thoughts or hopes of being free, meaning they know nothing of a better life. They are brought up to believe that this is their set fate. Knowing nothing other than dancing. Once a bacha-bazı boy grows a beard, he is sent away because he is seen as unattractive or too manly, which is inevitable. However, this isn't necessarily a good thing at all. The boy still needs to provide for his family, and all he knows is dancing, so he sells himself off to a lower class man. This shows how hard it would be to stop the practice of bacha-bazı. The Independent Human Rights Commission in Kabul, as well as UNICEF, along with the Secretary General of Children and Armed Conflict in the UN, and journalist Mr. Niberjallah Qureshi, have all made an effort to stand up to the issue by doing the most necessary thing, which is providing public awareness on the issue, as well as a way to monitor the practice, in the hope of breaking the silence and the taboo associated with the practice, a taboo that makes it all the more difficult to eradicate. Additionally, with the opening of the Qatar office begins formal negotiations between the government and the Taliban, in which issues like the protection of civilians and protection of children should be the first thing on the agenda. most helpful thing people can do these days would be exposing the issue, meaning that people need to do their part by creating public awareness through social media in an effort to internationalize the issue. Additionally, donations must be made to trusted NGOs who look at educating these children and rehabilitating them. Furthermore, donations must also be made to NGOs who look at extracting these kids from this environment, as it is very dangerous. Finally, donations to organizations who look at addressing the corruption in the government while being backed up internationally is something necessary.